Okay, we've all made some sacrifices to be here, but we all want the same thing.
I want to live here.
I want to buy Ann some diamond dust.
I'm just hoping to get mildly injured so I can get out of the army.
Bottom line is we've got 2 weeks to build a house. Doesn't have to be good, just has to look good.
I just want my kids back.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
You've done all the reading. You're a scholar, you're a professor. You've done all the reading. You've done the intellectual heavy lifting.
More or less, eat shit and die.
You wouldn't know a fact if it begged you all night long.
Want to, like, give the wrong impression, because I am very high.
Right up behind him with a hatchet. Smash, smash, smash. Yeah.
Care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you. That was...
Oh boy. Libertarian podcast review. This is Tyler. I don't know how well this is going to come off today. Got some technical problems. Let's see if we can handle them. I'll let you know what's going on in my life. Do we have it? Hey, Hannah is in this chat. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, there's a few little items we're going to talk about with Nick Rada. He got his kids back. And are we eating crow because of it? Personally, I think it's a good thing. Okay. Yeah. Shannon says that thumbnail, that thumbnail is a bit problematic, I guess you might say, because I showed pictures with kids with frosting. So I hope everyone can hear everything okay. Let's get into this. It's not much. Okay, so here's my deal. Okay, and people, maybe I'll walk through. Okay, so once again, I'm using OBS with this, and I didn't have a lot of time to set everything up. I'm still working through the process here. I got also asked to be on, what's this guy's name? Mario Nawfal. He has like millions of followers. He keeps bothering me here to be on Spaces tonight. Now it's at 9 Eastern, 6 o'clock. So about an hour. Maybe I should say it, but it's about Trump's rally in Montana. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about the Montana rally, but okay, maybe I'll join in. Okay, so this week I had a trial. Family law is different. Okay, so we do hearings. You go and you file a motion. You have a hearing. And then you can either, if you don't like the outcome, you can set it for a trial. And trials can be over just simple issues, like just yesterday was just spousal support. It can be over the entire case, which means it can be, 6-7 days, few days. It's not like the criminal trials. It would just go on and on and on, right? I do like this one. Just go on Spaces and make stuff. I should do that. Nick is our hero. The poor man just wants to screw his head and snort coke. Who cares about the kids, right? Well, he got his kids back. So we'll talk about that a little. Let me explain. So I had this trial yesterday, and it was just over spousal support. I don't know what the result is. It's under submission, so we'll find out. I think it went well. It was crazy. I don't know how we could lose. And I think I put a lot of time and effort into it, and so I was tired. So my wife's like yesterday, it's a long week. Thursday, she's like, let's go out. I want to go out. And I'm like, perfect. So we walked down to this Italian restaurant that we love right over here. Well, we drove. And it's literally within walking distance, but we drove. And we're sitting out there waiting because they're opening up a new bar, and that's kind of where we sit there. And so we talking to this guy, and he happens to be a legend in radio. His name is, maybe I don't say it, Ed Crane. I'll just say what it is. A super nice guy. He works here in local Sacramento. He's retired now, but he's done stuff back in the East Coast, the New York and whatnot. It was cool to meet him. And anyway, so that was kind of an interesting part. And then I drank a little bit too much. And then I came home. I fell asleep. It was like 7 o'clock. And then I woke up in the middle of the night. And then I was up for a few hours. So I don't know why I'm telling you this other than we need to get to this. Okay, we got a few chats in here. Maybe we'll just talk to chatters for a while. Shannon says, LOL. Okay, hi, Tyler. Thank you, JC. Yeah, right. He got his kids back free and clear. The man lies so much. We don't know what is really going on. Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. A little shout said, finally caught one live. Yes, you did. Popcorn Power said, let's be honest. We won't know what is up with Nick having his kids back until we see the court documents. I agree, Popcorn. Just hang on a little bit. We're going to read this, and I'm going to talk about now. Okay, so this is part of my dilemma here. Let's see if I could find the picture, because I was going to go live a little later, and then next thing I know, I got people like JC complaining that they haven't seen anything. So I'm like, fine, I'll go live now. And I really wasn't completely ready for it, completely, but I kind of am. Maybe we'll do, can I do it this way? And then go solo. Hey, everybody. That's fine. I'm still trying to work this out. Okay, so maybe I'll read this. I don't know if I could even add this to the screen right now. That's how much trouble I'm having with this. Nick said, hey guys, going to stream tonight, but instead I'm relaxing with the kiddos safe at home. Okay, should we add this in here? Should we try to add this? Browser slideshow. Can I do it as a slideshow? No, that's the other ping. You know what? Fuck it. We'll just do this. That's right. Today, our family case resolved and our kids came home. I'm going to read this whole thing and then I'm going to break it down bit by bit. Elation has been off the charts here as an arbitrary timelines and half-cocked stories got to collide with reality, and this part of a nightmare comes to a close. This type of legal proceeding is a millstone around the necks of everyone involved, and legal protections are eroded. I don't wish it on anyone, and as every bedrock principle of the American legal system takes a back burner. I'll see you sometime tomorrow, but tonight I'm resting with the joy. Okay, once again, I've made this comment over and over and over about Nick, which is, why are you so online? Why are you so online? Get off. Even then, you've got the kids and you're like, sweet, I'm going to hang out with the kids tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to be back online. Just like, can you just shut this shit down for a while? And now, I want to say I'm happy about this case, but as Popcorn said here, we're not going to really know until everything really comes out. Now, is this case really over, the CPS case? I would say no, because CPS has their claws in him, and they took the kids. They probably had some visitation. I don't know what happened. Some drug test. Yes, likely the drug test was incorrect with the daughter. I can't imagine that. Now, I will say this also. I don't know how much of this I'm going to believe, right? Because what does it say? Well, he said the case is resolved. I don't know that it is resolved. This could just be where the kids, they said, look, you could come home. You can maybe visit at home now. Maybe we're going to have the parents stay with you. We don't know what the exact situation is. It could be as much as CPS saying, we're done with this. Now they're going to probably say, we're going to keep following up. We're going to keep following up. We're not just going to let you just go off scot-free. Maybe they retested the daughter. There was nothing there. Who knows? You know, I saw a thing today with Aaron M. Holte, and he's just going off about how dirty, completely filthy this place was, how coked up these people were. So it's hard to believe Nick at face value when he says things like, oh, that never happened, right? So with that part in mind, it's hard to understand, but here's likely what happened. They retested all the kids. The kids came back fine, and they could test them multiple times. You got a lot of hair. You can do multiple hair follicle tests, and if they're coming back negative, you're pretty good on that point. Then they said, look, mother and father, maybe they did some testing. They've been clean since their arrest. That's important. That's obviously something that needs to happen. I'm assuming facts, not an evidence here. And then you can at least go from there saying, look, parents have put up a good front. We'll see how they're going. They're going to be continued to be tested. I doubt with the situation, with the kids first being removed from the house, that they are going to say you don't have to do testing going forward. I just don't believe that's the case. Now, maybe Nick's right here, and this was all just made up, and there's no evidence, and the body cam footage will come out, and all the documents will finally come out someday, and they made everything up. That sounds like what, you know, your Ethan Ralphs and some of these other people are going off on. By the way, we talked about this just a tad bit a while ago. There was what's her name? Whitney Webb. She was talking, making some things about some privacy, and it had to do with JD Vance. And then Robert Barnes got in the mix, and he's like, hey, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have Bill Gates is going to steal your stuff being for the CIA, or this other company is going to do it. It's just, which one do you want to do? And that reminded me of all this case with Nick, where Robert Barnes is flouting the flag of the government's always wrong. I agree. I do agree. But in this case, Nick is also very, very wrong. Okay, you can be two wrong people. And at that point, Robert's whole contention is basically, how dare you take the position of anybody other than, Nick's being thwarted by the government here, and they're all. And it's like, I don't know, man. Now you're standing for the government. So I'm not standing for the government at all. Okay, I'm just trying to break down what the situation is. What do we have here? What's going on? And with that, try to give you some perspective as to what to believe in. And then we're gossiping. Oh, by the way, we're 10 people away from 1,000 followers. So just subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, just subscribe right now, and then we'll get up to 1,000. And then you can send super chats, because this this family law attorney really needs super chats. Actually, that sounds problematic. That sounds like it's just going to complicate my tax filing. I'm not drinking beer today. I had too many last night, and it caused some problems. Let's see what else we got here. Nick beat the bleach. Yeah, he did. Nick wouldn't have to lie about the court case if he did the smart thing and simply shut up. Exactly. And by the way, I'm happy to see progress here, right? Kids, it's a problem. They're not my kids. I've also said I don't care what happens to Nick. If he happens to clean himself up for the sake of the kids and gets that situation under control, great, good for him, but I don't really give a shit about him. The kids are what you concern yourself about. They didn't put themselves in this situation. Adults made stupid childless type of decision, childless decision. Decisions, if you didn't have children, that's the kind of adult decisions Nick was making, but it affected his kids a lot. So even if the kids didn't get tested, they weren't positive for Coke. You talked about Aaron. He said, I just played a clip today. He talked about a time where the parents took all the kids for a week so that those 4 can do a sex drug den type of situation. He said the house was so filthy, it was out of control. So, you have all these things and you just don't necessarily just believe Nick with all this stuff. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, we already talked about that. Ron's in here. Nick, popcorn just popping off. Nick told Camelot the case is all but done. He tells different people different stories. He sells what he thinks. Popcorn doesn't seem like a big fan of Nick. I get that. Nick's going to jail. Well, I don't know about that. This is the world's hugest case of denial. It is. Now, I did see a document that evidently Kayla had a plea deal given to her. So I don't know if they're trying to, once again, work people against each other or whatnot. I mean, here is my deal with the whole court case, right? Which is, what was why, from an outside perspective, just looking at it from, I don't know if it's utilitarian point of view, but a perspective of what's the best outcome here? Is the best outcome to send Nick to jail, especially as a libertarian? I just don't believe that, right? Did he put his kids in danger? Yes. Did CPS come in and now they have their thumbs on the family? Yes. So at this point, I would be fine if they just dropped all the charges. I mean, I did say, okay, maybe some community, pay some whatever, because some of those laws are stupid. Child endangerment, take some fucking classes, have some other things, but maybe just funnel this all into the area of CPS and be done with this thing. Because it's not, for me, the criminal side is just, it's stupid. But, and I say stupid only from a perspective of, I'm not a big fan of, drug laws. I don't do any of this stuff myself, and I understand all the arguments on the other side. I'm just telling you where I am personally at. So what is the point here? And, if Nick's getting help and whatnot. Now, people just want to see him fry. I'm not about that. So anyway, there we are. Popcorn says, the only way I see Nick in jail is if he rejects a rehab plea deal. And by the way, maybe that's something they can do. Like, hey, you're going to go into rehab. You're going to be doing this. Fine. Dwayne's catching up. Which company would you rather have demand your private info? Yeah, that's kind of what Robert Barnes was saying. He should have already gone to rehab on his own volition. Absolutely correct. I've told you about cases like that. I just recently had another one. Client effed up. She had basically most of the custody, and then she kind of did a relapse thing. Dad got it, and he used this as a power move because mom was having trouble. But what did mom do? Mom, this was back in like October, November. She went into rehab. Like, she did not have to. She did on her own. She went into a full-on inpatient facility, did like a 62-day thing there, came out, and actually wanted to get help, right? And wanted to fix herself. So she comes out, then she's doing extra stuff. She's doing extra all the time. And she's pushing her limits, and she got her kids back. I mean, it was fantastic. So, you know, and by the way, you know, help from a good attorney like myself, or even an attorney like myself. He's dumb, and Barnes pilled though. So he thinks the government would use it against him if he went to rehab. Yeah, that's not that. Great point there. He's thinking the government is probably going to use the fact that he's going to rehab. And I don't know that you necessarily, he doesn't have to testify, right? So his problem is he talks too much himself. He's online and he's talking about other stuff. Oh, super chats. Yeah. Barnes would just want his own Baldo. By the way, I've heard that term before. Never cared to even research what it was about. All of a sudden I saw it was a casino stream the other day, or it was a clip about it. And they just started to describe it, and they played a clip of Nick talking about it. I'm just like, oh my God, this is worse. And I did the producing for Tower Gang. This is degenerate show, and what Nick was doing seemed even worse. Nick's ego won't let him go to rehab till forced. Probably so. You guys are killing it here. Push it real good. Okay. Are you guys singing songs here? Probably more than just the ego. The addiction has control. People just want to take accountability. CPS does not let this kind of case easily. Let's talk about that. No, I don't know. I think you meant just let it go. They don't. And so what will typically happen, especially with something like this, they'll probably keep their claws into them. Case is probably not resolved. They haven't closed the case out. They're always going to still be able to, they probably have them on a testing program for a longer duration. So you're still going to have Nick under the auspice of this whole thing, and which is probably good. It's not going to ruin anything. I mean, his case is the mixed case there. So can they use this against him in the other court? If something bad goes happen, sure. I don't care about him taking accountability. I want his ass in jail for doing this shit to his kids. I get it. I totally understand. Yeah. And I don't know what to really think about that. I mean, it was pretty bad what did happen to the, and like, look, if it comes out that the kid didn't test positive, okay, maybe that's not as bad. It's pretty horrific, and I don't really actually care at this point. I haven't really cared the whole time. So I don't know what to think about that. I mean, there is an accountability problem. There is what are you supposed to do in this case? I don't know. Charles in here chimes in. If the story about Aaron feeding Nick's kids while everyone else was passed out is true, that should have been the time for Nick to turn things around. Well, yeah. I mean, Nick had so many opportunities. I mean, by the way, I'm not going to go too deep into this Aaron schmuck guy because some of the stuff he say is just for his own aggrandizement and for, kind of letting himself look better. But according to him, he did several times try to tell these people, hey, don't do this shit. And he's like, that's like telling a junkie. Well, he's like, basically, you're telling a junkie not to do that and for their own good. And at that point, they just can't do it. Chadwick is in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Okay. His kid probably did get into the coke. It's very clear. And by the way, Nick had said this on, I think it was, what's her name stream, Chrissy Mayer, that, it could have been just in the air. And it's like, no, it's a hair follicle. It's the follicle that they're testing. They're not testing the scalp and the hair itself. It's the hair follicle. And that's the problem. Okay. Breaking the law regardless. The kids will not learn anything from this if daddy can get away with that shit. Yeah, okay. I don't have a problem there. I mean, it's what it is. We'll let it go the distance and see what happens. Once again, I don't know if it's best for the kids to be back in this situation. It's always best for the kids to be with the parents, but if the parents are pieces of shit, I don't care to have the kids back there. So, you know, you always got to be concerned about that. Okay, everybody. So go, once again, subscribe to the show, and you'll get all notifications here. What else do we got going on? Oh, Scott Ritter was arrested. No, his house was searched. And then, by the way, I did have some topics. Maybe I should just look at some topics here to go through, because I did want to talk about a few good things. There's some nice, wonderful things in the mix, but I also just kind of wanted to chill with y'all today and not really have to go through too much. There we go. LPR 178. By the way, this is Tyler Yonke, Libertarian Podcast Review, LPR, as we call it. Show ideas. Here's some show ideas that I had for today. So maybe we'll try to do this. Let's talk about some of the things I talked about last time. IP law. I want to read the chat. This is what I wrote. I had a note here. Read the chat and give impression on IP law, copyright, trademark, patent, not property because no scarcity. This is my notes I made to myself because someone had there. Packing the court. We could talk about Biden's whole little scheme of what he wants to do with the courts. Follow up on Nick, plea deal for Kayla. Yeah, there was a Google lawsuit which they had found that they antitrust law that they were illegally maintained a monopoly. Google did, okay, and then kind of what do we think about that? There's other deals. There was the body cam footage from the police officer that got released. That's somewhat interesting. So what I should probably do is let's go to the chat here. Let's see if I can pull this up. Okay, so I'm going to have to go to my chat from last time, from the show that we did last time. You know what? I should be able to see my chat here on this one. Oh, well. You know, one of these days I'll figure all this stuff out. I'm still working through this. Okay, so I made some comments about IP law last time, right? That I don't really believe in it. And then someone didn't like that, and so they came and had a conversation about it. And so let's see if I can find it. It's not here. Mentions. Nope, not finding it there. Okay. Sometimes, you know, you try to find your comments in the YouTube, what you call it, the YouTube studio, and then you go into there, and then they're not in there. And so that's really frustrating. So I actually have to go to the YouTube video link. This is annoying. I don't want to with the admit. Okay. So let me talk about this real quick, which is I said, I don't want to get struck, but I don't really give a shit about, I don't care about IP law. And so someone said something to the fact of, oh, you say you don't, I actually want to bring up the chat. See if I can find it here. Where are the comments? There we go. There we go. We should just look at these. Maybe I could, you don't want to see that. Let me see if I could do, hang on with me, people. Window capture. All right, well maybe we'll do it this way. All right, and my picture will just be off the screen. We can walk through this. Lauren said, I want to thank you for getting right to business. So many channels chat for an hour, go through a line every 30 minutes. I appreciate this. And I'm like, well, you didn't want to hear about my weekend? Okay, thanks. Little Dancing Fawn said, why wouldn't the lawyer state all the things Nick did? Seems Nick is fighting harder and why wouldn't the lawyer state all the things Nick did? Nick seems to be fighting harder or bringing up things his lawyer should have brought up, that the foster parents, grandparents was licensed, so they're qualified to do supervised visits. That's important to mention. I agree. I have zero issues with going after anyone who broke into or hopped on without permission in a court case via Zoom. Okay. Yeah, because someone had done that, remember? Without seeming to defend anyone, I recall a live stream where Kayla joined. She was almost in tears saying how Nick was an awesome dad and husband, that the house will normally be a mess, clothes piled, dishes piled, without saying anything, Nick will do the dishes and start folding clothes or cleaning up the place. She said without Nick, the house would fall apart. That she is a failure as a mom and a wife. So when the photos come out, having knowledge of the condition of the house it normally is in, I'm not going to be surprised. Now, why they didn't teach their children to clean up the house around and give them all chores to do. I don't know. This is parenting fail, in my opinion, with 7 people normally living in one house. One person, perhaps 2, depending on how messy kids are, cannot keep up with it. Well, but it was basically this den of iniquity, right? I mean, just grossness. I don't know how much I feel about that. This person said, Ronan Kraut says, the guardian ad litem, gal, in the court appointed attorney for the children. Okay, this is just kind of repeating everything I talked about. Parents have a right to see their children. Visits must be set. Yeah, we talked about that. How to say places. Candy Yohi is said Candy Yohi. Wilmer is said Wilmer. Edit. I don't know. Also, in your personal, as for your personal problems, by the end it became abundantly clear that you hate Nick. That is fine, but at a certain point, you have to beat the dead horse. Okay, so I just said in here, this is the Arctic Wolf, and someone else said speak English. I know they're talking to me, or that I said, oh, LOL, it's Minnesota, and I'll pronounce these names as I wish, because I don't know what I was saying there. My hatred isn't for Nick so much as it is for pretend lawyers and those who lie while flushing their kids down the toilet. Thanks for watching. And anyway, great video, my guy. Okay, I appreciate that. Where is the comment about IP law? I don't see it in here now. It was a whole thing. It was a whole incident that we had here going on with the guy. Now I'm gonna have to try to find it elsewhere. God damn it, that's so annoying. Okay. YouTube. It's just okay. Let's see here if we can find this. Who said? Okay. Let's see if I can find it here. I found the link at this time. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's bring this back up. Sorry about all this, people. Here we go. So this guy says, quote, IP law is not a thing, unquote. Intellectual property laws, the concept that you own your ideas and can create them, create wealth from them are what create, okay, own your own ideas, remember that, and create your modern world. The Industrial Revolution was almost a direct result of the establishment of patent law in the UK. I'm pretty sure that if I rebroadcast your podcast without any transformational use, you'd likely copyright strike me, maybe even litigate, because after all, you're a lawyer, a member of the most parasitic class of rent seekers in our society. But I thought you just said owning your ideas was what created wealth. I'm also pretty sure that you would litigate under existing IP law. Let's read more. Should someone start a competing podcast called Libertarian Podcast Reviews? Well, first of all, let's go here. First of all, my show doesn't have an S in it, so it just doesn't matter. It's a podcast review, and I'm changing it to LPR. So I think I'll be probably just fine with that. Okay, so we're not going to be too disappointed there. So my response was right here. Let's take a look. Man, I got to really get this shit organized. I said, please rebroadcast all you want. You're new here, so you don't know me, but I believe what I say. Ideas aren't scarce and therefore shouldn't be referred to as a property right. And because he's talking about intellectual property law and that concept that your ideas can create wealth. So if you own your ideas, we're talking about property, and that's what I'm saying. But it can't be, because it's not a scarce item. You don't own that. Ideas aren't scarce and therefore shouldn't be referred to as a property right. Labor Theory of Value by Adam Smith only vaulted Marx and his horrible ideas. Maybe I should do a show on this. And then he comes back and says, who says IP has anything to do with labor theory of value? How are you getting your ideas then? How do you own them? You can't own those, okay? And that's, by the way, that's the process that IP law problem takes, which is, okay, I own my body and I own my ideas. And then the labor theory is, since I put work into it, now I put my ideas down and I've done that. Now that labor, I own that labor. That's how you get that connection. And by the way, I'm not great on this topic. It's just my understanding, and we should probably have Kinsella on there. So anyway, that's what I'm saying there. Okay, let's see if Chadwick's in here. This kid's probably did coke. Okay, the corpse of John Ritter was arrested. What? I don't know what that means, but John Ritter, good. Oh, did I say? I meant Scott Ritter. Okay. Yeah, John Ritter, Three's Company, this other one, the Redhead Stepchild movies he was in. Yes, he died. Sorry, Scott Ritter. He also did stuff with kids. It's allegedly. Is Talking Towers dead? Good question. So if you've noticed, we're doing a JC, great question. We're doing a pre-show and we're doing a post-show. And by the way, it was always rough. It was always rough because I would have a Talking Towers. Talking Towers, by the way, I produced Tower Gang, and so it would be at the end, and I'd come in and I'd do a little plug for them, and da 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 da. And it would, and oh, by the way, let's talk about this real quick. Click the thumbs up button, support the channel, and share live link with 3 friends. Just do it. Thanks, Chadwick. I appreciate that. So Talking Towers, just on that concept there. So I would come in and I would do a thing. I'd plug the guys' shows and I'd tell them what they're on, and I'd kind of have some things. As I'm doing it and they're in the back show watching, they're just leaving. And I'm just like, I've talked about this over and over. It was a mind fuck for me because imagine it's worse than I see numbers on the screen, people are here, people in the chat, but you don't really see you. These are people watching me, right? I see them under there and then they just leave. It's literally like walking people off, you're doing comedy and they're just like, I'm out of here. And it's just like, it was tough. Okay. So then, we just started doing this pre-show and this post-show, and we were trying to figure out how to, change and end it. And he just quote unquote forgot that I was doing Talking Towers. So they skipped over me. And now I'm just like, I don't know that I want to do it. It put stress on me that I want to focus more on producing the show rather than producing a little thing. I'm trying to do little clips, and maybe that's what I will continue to do here. Actually, maybe we can play a clip from last time. Oh boy. This is what happens, people, when you're, and I watch these other shows, right? You have, and there's times like these law shows, Good Logic and some of the others, and he'll sit there and nothing is said for minutes on end while they're doing stuff. I can't do that. I feel like I have to have a show that's congruent. It's like a TV show or whatnot, that's things that are happening. So let's see if I can play this. Okay, this was, and then I'll explain it here.
Read these to you. This is Riley Gaines. She said the following on X: men in wigs front and center at the Olympic Games. No one ever tell me this group is oppressed or marginalized again. Elon Musk: this was extremely disrespectful to Christians. Radio host Clint Russell said there are 2.4 billion Christians on earth, and apparently the Olympics wanted to declare loudly to all of them right out of the gate, not welcome.
See this? That means not welcome.
You got balls as big as church bells.
Okay, so I'll just, I decided to do an edit there because Clint, he did this thing and he put not welcome. And he's like, no one caught that I was basically quoting the American History X. So I'm like, boom, we did that. And, I think I'm just going to try to do a little bit more of that kind of stuff now that you guys got that. Okay, so like, subscribe, and there you go. The cop that backed off the roof. Yeah, I haven't watched the whole video yet. I watched this guy, and I don't know if Dr. Martinson, I think is his name. And let's go here because I know he's going to do a show. He's probably doing a show right now, and he's going to do one on this. He's been really breaking this stuff down. It's called Peak Prosperity. Yeah, he's doing it right now as we speak. So, there you go. This guy, and he does his show. He does these breakdowns, and what I like most about him is his show. So it's called Peak Prosperity on YouTube. There, he puts things in what I really like. With there's facts that and there's facts that you don't know or you can't confirm, and so he calls them a green, yellow, and red. And he'll move things around as they get confirmed and they don't. So, the immediate stuff, remember, there was a shooter on the water tower. Well, he never bought into that fully. And now we're kind of saying that that's probably was never the case. So I do like this. I like the guys that don't just shoot off the mouth, top lobster, and they have a little bit more of a, understanding there. Let's see if we can have any other things here. I always tweet the show link. That's what JC said. So do I. I appreciate that. Fortunately, Biden can't pack the courts without Congress. Yeah, I also saw, Jamie Raskin was saying, they're going to use the 14th Amendment. Look, that's what the courts tried to do in Colorado, right? Use that, Provision 3, I'm trying to remember, of the 14th Amendment to be able to remove someone, from the ballot. And the court said, no, you can't do that on the state level. But they did say, that should be done by Congress. So that is left open now for Congress to be able to come in and, do. So, if you're a Trump fan and you are concerned about it, he could get elected. And then if Congress didn't go the way that you wanted to, they could still remove him from there. So, be careful. I'm surprised here there's a YouTuber with a bigger fall from grace than Nick right now. Yeah, so Mr. Beast is having trouble. What's the other one that that's one of them, right? I don't know. 2 stay-at-home parents and a nanny could not keep. Now the lady said I was beating a dead horse and I just hate Nick. True. No, what I hate is filth. I'm not a filthy person. We have 4 kids and we keep a clean house. And that's partly because you're on them all the time. But you've got to be an example, right? I mean, you can't just be that kind of shit. And here's the problem is they had friends. They had, these kids themselves. They had a nanny. They had 2 hookup lovers in there. And then they would have their own sets of parents. The maternal and paternal grandparents would come over. And none of this shit was getting done. So, Mr. Beast dude is fully done. Oh, okay. I don't know much about it. Maybe I'll wait till CoffeeZilla does. I'm just kidding about that. Isn't Coke supposed to give you cleaning energy? Maybe. Can you imagine how happy the kids would be to be back to a clean house, clean dishes, clean clothes? I bet they're loving CPS right now. Yeah, actually, remember the one girl, according to the police officer, when he was taking the kids and they were at the house, he asked if she needed anything, and she said, I need clothes. I've been in these clothes for a few days. I'm not quoting it, but that's really a close paraphrasing of what she said, which was kind of worrisome at the time. Can you imagine okay, we already did that. Okay, if Kayla was just gonna sit on the couch and watch Star Trek, we'd have been a cheaper option. Yeah, okay. I don't think Tyler is an ambulance chaser. Okay, who claimed me to be an ambulance chaser? How libertarian is our host? Open borders, no drug laws, no safety laws. Let's go. Popcorn power. Maybe you're new here. I'm more of what you'd call a right-wing libertarian. Okay. Hans Hermann Hoppe style. I'm not a fan. I believe you can have property rights and not have open borders. Okay. So I'm not a fan of open borders. I'm also no drug laws. I mean, decriminalizing them. That's just I think you can go about it different ways, much like what we're doing here. Hey, child endangerment. Fine, then we're going to come in and we're going to do some things with your kids. You may not like it. Well, you know what? We may not really care that the drugs are legal for you as an adult, but we are going to care about those. You can still have your time, place, preference, situations for a lot of these things. What is this? No food safety laws? Yeah, I'm not in food safety laws. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, this is the deal. If you get a proper society, and by the way, this is exactly what we're doing here, even with Nick, which is shame. I know there's the thing like, the Karens and the wokeness and cancel culture, but done correctly, that is how you police a lot of this, right? And that was my thing from the start, which is Nick's a piece of shit online and he's doing stuff to his kids. Then, good luck. All these losers are still going to give him money. That's on you in a sense, buyer beware, but you can shame the shit out of this stuff. And that was my deal to begin with. That's where I started. I had to do a stream. I wasn't going to, and I had to do one because, Good Logic, what's his real name? I forget. Joe Neerman. I posted under there about because Nick did so many good things for me, and I'm just like, fuck all this. It's the kids. Stop acting like your buddy did something and I'm there for him. You know what? Okay, be there for him, but you know what you do? You berate the shit out of him to make sure he gets right, because all this enabling, telling Nick what a great stand-up person he's been to you, that's not going to get him off the coke. Okay, that's not going to do it. So anyway, that's my deal. Popcorn power. I mean, let's talk some more about the libertarian stuff. Nick could take tens of thousands he spent on exotic vacations and hire a maid. Yeah, you guys have all the solutions. We need Ken Sella's review of Eminem's new album. I don't know what you're getting there. I hate Eminem, but I do love Kinsella. So maybe, you know what? Stefan Kinsella, at one point, and maybe he unsubscribed. He subscribed to this show. So just, throwing that out there. He tried to do stuff with a female officer posing as a kid. Yes, you're talking about Scott Ritter, not the other Ritter. Dogs always say it is rough. Okay, 21 people watching. Our host is a good egg. Throw him a... You don't have to say exactly how many are watching. Look, I could do the stats here. It says 26 watching, 105 on X. And there's probably some on Rumble. I don't know. Should I look on Rumble just to see? I'm supposed to get chats coming in through here. So let's go to Rumble. Let's test it out. And let's go in here. I mean, I would say subscribe to Rumble, subscribe to everywhere you can. That's my goal. So no one's commenting over on Rumble, and I'm gonna say hi chat from the Rumble side, and we'll see if it comes over here. Okay. Imagine you're coal plowing 2 women and Toad just leaves. Please, people. Chris Martinson. Thank you, Chris Martinson. Yes, thanks. Here's some of my views. Government should not, 1, furnish parks, tennis courts, golf courses, baseball fields, soccer fields. If there is a need, private owners could do those things. I agree, and let me tell you this. This ties into the Google, which I do want to take a closer look at once I stop, doing my own work. Which is Google. There's a monopoly, antitrust issue, right? And the scenario with them, just to let you know, is that they are 2 things. One is that they were the default on all computers as a search browser. Google, Google it, right? And then there was a situation with advertising. I think they're okay on the advertising thing, but the judge said they were an illegal monopoly due to the fact that they had a presence on every computer you would get, iPhone, whatnot. It was like the default, and they were paying a lot of money to have this happen. And So I get it, and you can go through that. Now, my problem with, I do have, libertarian issues with antitrust issues to begin with, but here's the problem of how Google got to where it's at. I know it's the government going after them, but the government's been part of this problem. They do a lot of data mining with them, sharing. Look at all these problems we've had with YouTube, cracking down. So the government has this intertwined thing, and then at some point they're like, whoa, you're getting too much. It's like, wait, because you're worried about your own monopoly? I don't know. So I need to look at it closer, but I'm always a little bit suspect when the government goes after a company for being too monopolistic when they've enabled this company to get to this point in the first place, right? Maybe if they had to compete, they being Google had to actually compete in the market instead of being pushed along by the government sources, or government funds, that it would have been perhaps a different deal all along. Here are some of my views. Oh yeah, no parks. I agree. Word on the street is that decriminalization isn't working as well for Portugal as the mainstream news media told us. Okay, Popcorn, I do have a comment about that. I'm trying to remember who it was that I was listening to discuss this. Now, I don't necessarily believe this is what they said. And it could have been, what's his name, that had done some of the Twitter file stuff and then got kind of, anyway, they went to decriminalization in Portugal. But what they did when they did that portion was they used that money then for services to help with rehab and whatnot. At some point, they decided to stop doing the services part. So they still have the decriminalization, but now they don't have the services. According to this young gentleman, I don't remember who, Schellenberger, maybe it was him. He indicated, someone, and I'm just thinking it might have been Schellenberger, indicated that the services part were the big part of the solution here. So you decriminalize, you have services. Now they stop doing the services, and therefore, So maybe this is, it's not so, doesn't sound so libertarian of a solution at this part. But yeah, I don't know. We'd have to look into it a little bit more. Growing your own food and buying from trusted local sources would make food laws irrelevant. People don't want solutions. They want convenience. Exactly. Look at this. See, the chat is working on Rumble. So you guys can go over there and I will see your chats now come in. So please do. Yeah, so we do a lot of our own food. It's great. We don't have cows, so we don't have, the raw milk problem going on here. But it is a good solution. And when they were trying to pass a law here I don't know, 10 years ago to make sure that all stores had to properly label foods and stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, man. This is when, if you go to some place and you trust a store or you trust a certain product out there, then, that's really what it should be. And if they don't produce, then you sue the shit out of them, right? That's the problem you have right now with the vaccines, as a matter of fact, or the I can't really say the words, because they've got liability protection from the government. So yeah. Consilla said his favorite rapper is Eminem on your show. Well, fuck him. Rumble chat is hell. Yes, it is. Notice he left out basketball. Yeah, good call there. Google should have been decided a monopoly a decade ago. Probably so. I use Ask Jeeves. I remember that. Lycos for me. You guys are really old, and I do like all this. Google is a pseudo monopoly, but it was by design. Google and DARPA have always been joined at the hip. They've worked for the deep state the whole time. Yeah, I probably do agree with that. This is a short list for reference. And not Ron's in the chat. I think I caught up. Okay. What are we at? 46 minutes. What else did I have on my list here from last time? Trademark. So I talked a little bit about IP. I talked a little bit about the Google lawsuit. The plea for Kayla. We don't really know what's up with that. There could be more on the situation. Walter Block. I was going to read something from him about antitrust, but I'm probably not going to do it. Let's talk about the Olympics real quick. Should we do that? How do you guys feel about all the Olympics? Now, I've got, there was the problem with the Open, right? The Open ceremonies that everyone, and by the way, this is, you people crack me up. Should I go into the spaces? I haven't, I've got 40 minutes to decide. My wife said it's pizza night. She's making pizza. So I don't know that I want to necessarily sit around to try to get on a spaces. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. So I posted that little video I did about, it was taking the thing with, what's his name? Clint Russell, right? And I posted it up there. And then I do like this guy, Adam Fitzgerald. And he put, wasn't even about Christianity. According to the ceremony's artistic director, Thomas Jolly, the performance is a nod to a pagan celebration featuring Dionysus, the Greek god of fertility, wine, and revelry. I don't particularly care for the half-naked revelry myself. Okay, but it was like the Lord's Supper, the Last Supper, right? But, and so I just responded, this vid is a joke, okay? Also, and this is my point here. The Olympic ceremony is when the drama class teacher and the art students are in charge of the introduction to a sporting event. No one watching the sports wants to see what they have to offer. So that's exactly what it is. It's like, hey, your team, the basketball team is making it to the playoffs, and the school's all excited, and they're hosting a home game. So the principal's like, he gets a call from the art teacher or the drama club, and they're like, we've got this great halftime show we want to do, and they don't care about the sports. They want to show how stupid their department is, and so everyone knows, but they really want to be the cool. So they come in and they do this. They do this stupid show. No one wants to hear it. No one wants to see it. At least I don't. I want to see sports. I don't want to see this kind of shit. But it's these losers that are then in charge, and they get put in charge. So you got Macron. I mean, he's banging his old teacher, male or female, we don't know. And now he's like, oh, no one wants to see this, okay? I mean, most of the people watching the sports don't want to see this. But I'm also really tired with the commercials for the Olympics. I mean, I really backed off. I used to watch a lot. And now let me just tell you about the Olympics, what I do and don't watch. I can't stand normal sports in the Olympics. Normally, I'm never going to watch these crazy sports, cycling. I do watch that all the time. But I don't want to watch them in the Olympics. I don't want to watch, like basketball. I don't want to watch basketball. Basketball came on the other night. I mean, Corey, and I watch basketball. I watch all the, main U.S. sports. I don't want to see a football game in there. I don't want to see, soccer is about dumb, but I don't want to see soccer. I don't want to see golf. I don't want to see tennis. I did see Scotty Scheffler won. I mean, I don't want to see these. I want to see something stupid in the Olympics. I want to see your 4x100 with the American men. Haven't done anything for 30 years and they still haven't, because they couldn't hand the baton off right? That's the kind of shit I want to see. I want to see some ogre throw a shot put. I do, and I will never watch these people until another 4 years comes down. I want to watch them swimming, right? I want to see that happen. I want to see the one black guy from one country almost drown in the pool because he got his shot in the Olympics. Now, there's also other things that I just really detest, which is, I get too into the weeds here, but cycling as an point. I do like watching that in the Olympics. I don't know why, but I will watch it. It was fantastic this year, American. My friend, who's a coach, his rider won for the women, and then they won the gold in like some track events. American guy almost did well in the men's there. So there's some good stuff there. Anyway, it's I don't need to get volleyball. I'm a big fan of that. I'll watch that, but I'm basically during the Olympics times. Okay. Breakdancing was a sport this year. I saw that today. They kept, because I had a TV on in my room, in my office. I just had it going. I wasn't really paying attention. All of a sudden I look, the women were running their 4x100s, which they did win. The men sucked. And then I looked over and they're like, breaking. That's what it said, breaking. I'm like, what is it? Is this the 1980 Olympics? What the fuck is that? And of course they've got, some Chinese chick with like a do-rag on, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This is also, I'm going to say this here about judging. Sports. By the way, women's gymnastics. I can go for that. Although I didn't really watch it this much this year. It's turning a little dark. I mean, not colored wise. It's doing that too. Yeah. What's the good old days where you just had Olga from Russia beating everybody? I don't know. Anyway, I looked over and some Japanese girl won breakdancing. I only watch Olympics for women's asses. I agree, by the way. There was, I watched the women's 10K today. This Volby chick from Florida. Whew, smoking. Man, where's Jamie Kennedy now? Who said anything about Jamie Kennedy? The Olympics has always been a communist gobbledygook. Okay, yeah. I don't care about the Olympics. There's no amateur sports. Yeah, well, here's the problem. Let's talk about this real quick. So the problem used to be, until they allowed professionals to be in the sports, they would, we could only bring amateurs in, right? But the Soviet bloc, they didn't have professionals, so they got to bring their best in the world on their side all the time. So it was just ridiculous. So it's kind of like the gender problems that you have, right? Which is, and by the way, let's talk about that real quick. So you got this girl getting the crap beat out of her in, Algerian or something like that, that's in boxing, that's winning. And cracks me up because the right jumps on it right away and they're like, oh, this transgender, it's a boxing. It's actually a dude boxing. And then the left comes back and they're like, easy, folks. This is a person with kind of intersex, right? They had not Jamie Kennedy, but Jamie Lee Curtis, had both like body parts, right? So you had some male testes in there. So there's a weirdness to this, right? So I had a liberal friend posting this on. He's like, the right's so stupid. This is actually someone that's actually born this way, right? And I'm like, oh, interesting. So now we're back to defining gender on how you're born. Thank you. Finally got back here. It took a little bit of time. It took the right to be incorrect about internal testes to finally get back to the place where we want to be, which is ladies beach volleyball is a great sport. By the way, it is. And I do love beach volleyball. I want to see big wieners flopping around the pole vault bar. That was rough. Okay, that was rough. Olympics are amateur, so the IOC can take all the money. It's not really about the purity of the sport. That's work. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Time to pay the fucking athletes. Oh, whoa, that's a little rough there. Balls make the man, not the shaft. By the way, I don't know if you guys ever watched, and then we'll be done here, ever watched Icarus? Fascinating documentary. I absolutely loved it, especially as someone who's a cyclist. This guy decides to take EPO and drug himself up as an amateur. Okay, there's these things called Grand Fondos, which are kind of like big, think of like a marathon somewhere. It just a big group could go. It's like a big race, and everyone can qualify and get in. So they kind of like a mini Tour de France. I think it was like 11 different stages in Europe. And he's like 40 some years old, so he wanted to do this. But he wanted to see how it would do if he just doped himself really good. So he was trying to find someone to help him do this, so that he can at least have it done correctly. I mean, the Lance Armstrongs and whatnots. Lance Armstrong had this guy named Michele Ferrari, this Italian doctor who's an absolute genius and evil, and helped him dope, and he had this you would want to have a doctor helping you rather than just some side hustle homeless person shooting you up with intravenous, drugs. So anyway, this guy finds this, he's trying to have, and he gets this anonymous, doctor guy that someone else knew, and this guy's helping him. This guy ends up being the head of, I think, anti-doping in Russia. Okay, now he wants to get out. And then there was a whole thing about the Russian Olympics, Sochi, about how they faked the tests for the Russian athletes. This is also why you watch the Olympics right now, and this is part of it. And there's no Russian team. It's just independent, right? They can't do that. Yeah, okay. That's what we have there. I'm not a homo, so I don't watch biking documentary. By the way, you should watch it, right? Because the guy was even on Rogan. He was even on Rogan. Because the first part is about kind of his writing, but it's not about that. It's about him contacting this Russian guy and getting this help. And so it's very fascinating. And then they go into the second half of trying to get this guy out of Russia and to protect him and have this story break open. And so that's the fascinating part. You can start with it being, it's about bikes and gay, and then going on from there. It's actually really surreal to see people falling over themselves to praise the intersex boxer, LOL. Yeah, that is weird. What's his name? The Icarus guy, or let's take it. Icarus documentary. And by the way, I'm gonna get all this stuff taken care of here so that at some point we can do better with the window capture. There you go. Icarus, American documentary. Brian Fogel was the guy's name. I don't know if he was all that good as a cyclist. Let's see here to talk about the Russian guy doping in Grigory Rodchenkov. Grigory, is he dead yet? That's the question. He's a pretty smart dude though. No, he's still alive. Oh, here we go. All right. Well, I think that's where we're going to end this show today on that stuff. Should I get into Mario's space? He hasn't started it yet. 6 o'clock. I got 11 minutes to make this decision. I'll go ask my wife what she wants me to do. Thanks. Was trying to find his Rogan episode. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That should be pretty good. R.I.P. Joe Rogan. I don't know. He's saying he's dying. All right, everybody. I appreciate you coming in this Friday. Next Friday, I'm not going to be able to do it. Wait. No, I'll be able to do a show next Friday, I think. I'm heading to my nephew's wedding up in the Northwest. I'll see my son. He lives up there. The whole family's flying up, so that'll be great. So maybe I could do one Friday. Maybe I'll do one earlier, but I will try to let you guys know. I'll try to get this done. Tyler, don't sow the space. Tyler, it's Friday night. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I won't do it. Until then, till next week, everybody. Don't forget to sub. Love you all. Have a good weekend. Joe died of COVID 3 years ago. Out.
Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye, guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Chick-fil-A is completely overrated. It's not that good. I prefer Zaxby's. I prefer Popeyes.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. And I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Should I vote for Dick Cheney on the Libertarian Party? Do I have an obligation to vote for Dick Cheney?
I would say so.
Yes.
Did it work for those people?
No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us.
That one dude was like, not a podcast, I can't find it anywhere, and they don't have video.
Oh, yeah, Peter Janke, yeah.
Yeah, I blocked him.
I'll do it. If he unblocks me, I'll...
He'll buy your shirt if you unblock him, Bert.
He's a wigger.
Yeah, nothing cooler than a 49-year-old wigger.
Like,
I just started live streaming. Cut me some slack. I'm pretty high tech for a boomer. But anyways,
boomer.